Assalamu alaikum. Hope so you all are doing well. Today the topic is Old Cumberland Beggar by William Wordsworth. This poem is basically about a beggar, and the poet describe about how he lives on the road, and also how he is very close to the nature, and he also describe about the people's behavior towards him, and a little bit his appearance and how much things he have. And also at the end of the poem he also describe gives advice to the state that how they should behave to the beggar. Now I am going to read from the notes, then you will get to know about the poem uh, briefly. This poem is very appealing and thoughtful, in which social issues have been discussed. It is also an autobiographical poem because poet talks about his childhood in this poem. This poem is about a beggar. It has the description about him, where he lives and how people care for him. Poet observes that people's behavior toward him is very admirable. They provide him food, they are charitable, and beggar lives closely to the nature. He goes to his home, or you can say jungle or mountains, by passing through the hills and mountains. Wordsworth had also described nature in this poem. जैसे कि वर्ड्सवर्थ ही इज़ अ रोमांटिक पोइट, तो उसकी हर पोएम में वो नेचर को ज़रूर डिस्क्राइब करेगा। इस तरह इसने भी यहाँ पे सारे सोशल इश्यूज़ के बारे में बताया है, लेकिन साथ साथ उसने सारी नेचर की भी डिस्क्रिप्शन दी है कि कैसे वो बैगर जो है वहाँ रोड पे तो बैठा हुआ है, लेकिन रहता वो बिल्कुल ही लिव्स क्लोज टू द नेचर. Poet says beggar has spent his entire life in nature, so it is his right to die in nature or in that areas where he live. He addresses to the government or state that they should not force him to live in old age houses. He must have freedom to choose wherever he wants to live, and they should not consider him as useless person and burden to the state. Instead, they should provide him freedom and rights to live according to his own choice. The poem, this was overall view of the poem, and then now it is a description of the poem. The poem starts when poet walks on the street and he sees a beggar sitting near a highway. He has some food, a bag, and stick as well. He is old, weak, and harmless that even birds also feel fearlessly they take food from him. Then he gives description of people's behavior towards him. He tells about a horseman, and also he talks about the girl and postboy later in the poem. About a horseman, he says, instead of throwing coins towards the beggar, he come close to him and put coin in the hat properly. His behavior is very polite towards the beggar. Then he talks about a girl whose behavior is very admirable, and also there is a postboy description. Um then later, the poet has read, beggar has no friends or companions. He lives alone in rural areas or instead of industrial world. He is only a friend of nature. At the end of the poem, he criticizes, or you can say he is addressing the politicians or state who are very proudy because of their power and money, and thinks they think that everything is in their hands. They can do whatever they want. So poet says that they should know poor beggar and who has served they should know that the poor beggar has served his entire life and must not consider as useless, and they should take responsibility of him, and they should make him feel free to spend his life according to his own choice instead of forcing him to live in old age houses. So hope so you understood this poem easily. Allah Hafiz.